Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some more X-Plane 10.45 and the Batavia SH-3 Sea King. So we are back here in Finleyville Airpark in Washington County in Pennsylvania. G05 is the name of the airport code, and I've done the bulk of the work to build this airport up. So we're going to take a moment here and just basically admire my handiwork, and that way I can see if there's anything else I might need to finish. Of course, we are in the Batavia SH-3 Sea King, and after I'm finished, we are going to be heading down to the next airport that I'm going to be working on, which I may or may not show you. Alright, let's see. We'll get the cyclic back on here. And to do this little walk around, I think we're actually going to do just that. We're going to walk around. So let me get out of the pilot seat here. And we'll head to the back. That way I can open up the back door. I still haven't figured out whether or not those controls to the left actually work. But then I haven't had a chance to do any like air-sea rescue or anything. Alright, so as you can see, it is evening time. I'm recording this on a Friday. So it's Friday evening. And the skies are looking good. The helo's looking good. Come to think of it, so is the airport. Now, I haven't quite figured out how the textures all work. I have everything set to very high, and I am running my brand new Radeon RX 480 card, but I'm still not getting very high frame rate, so I'm not sure what I'm missing as part of the puzzle there. It might just be my CPU needs to be replaced. But anyway, let's take a look at some of the little add-ons that I've got here. You can see I've got some people here. This is courtesy of 3D People, which is a library that you can download. And you see we have some business people over there, and we got a couple over here apparently waiting for their charter flight. I don't have the heart to tell them. There's no more flights coming in today, but yeah, you guys look fashionably dressed, so you just keep doing what you're doing there. Now this airport, like I said, is located in southwestern PA, and it is basically a community-run airport. Unlike most of the airports that you find out there, this one actually has like a board of directors, and all of the members slash shareholders of this airport are also people who utilize this airport. So we'll see in the hangar area where we've got a bunch of planes parked. This is pretty accurate to what this airport looks like. There is a little fuel area which we're moseying on over to right now. And again, we've got another little 3D guy there. He's standing there waiting to fill up your plane, or if something catches fire, he's got the little extinguisher off to his right there. There we go. And let's see if we can take this taxiway back here, and I'll show you some of the hangar areas. This is definitely one of the most unique little airports here in Pennsylvania. I'll tell you a little bit about it based on what I found on their website. Now, the Finleyville Airport was opened for business by Stanley Siggins, a well-known Pittsburgh aviation enthusiast, in June of 1947. Now, he passed away, unfortunately, in 1989, and at that time, the airport was purchased at auction by the current airport management for about $275,000. Now, since 1990, they've been working to maintain and improve Finleyville Airpark. They upgraded the facilities. A lot of these buildings were built. They added that fuel station that we just took a look at. And they even added a pilot lounge. So if you fly into this airport, you actually do have a place where you can just chill and talk with other people about aviation. They do occasionally have little fly-ins. I have seen some pictures on that. I don't know when the next one is coming, but you can go to their website, which is www.finleyvilleairport.com, if you happen to be coming to the southwestern PA area and are looking for a really cool place to hang out. That little house on the right, I still have yet to determine whether or not that is an actual house, or if it's the abode for the airport manager, or if it's the pilot lounge. I think I might actually have to make a road trip and drive down there in real life just to find out these things. But we got some more 3D people here, and I put a bunch of planes in the hangars. As you can see, we've got an old Hellcat, and here's a guy on his cell phone, and apparently his wife or girlfriend or a business partner is waiting for him to get off the cell phone so that they can conduct business, whatever it is that they're doing. So we'll go down the taxiway here. Now this taxiway is very narrow. I did use an overlay image underneath to make sure that I had just the right width for the taxiways. This is pretty accurate, folks. It's really that narrow. It's barely wide enough for like a Cessna to go through here, and you have to make sure you're exactly on the center line. If you veer anywhere left or right, you're going to be hitting hangars and stuff. There is supposed to be a neighborhood over there, which I'm probably going to put in because when I put my exclusion zones down, it literally excludes anything that's autogen. So the little houses that I had there initially are all gone. I'll have to plop them down using some of the great scenery libraries that I've found, which I will be linking to in the video description. I'm not sure if I remembered to add it to the credits since I'm doing the voiceover for this after the fact. Alright, now I do have several hangars here, so the player can utilize these hangars as starting places. If you're familiar at all with how X-Plane works, it'll usually put you in the very first parking spot, whether it's a helipad or a tie-down or a gate or whatnot. Since this is primarily a GA airport, and I'm primarily using helicopters, I have the first parking spot as that helipad where the SH-3 Sea King is right now. But yeah, you can opt to park your GA plane in any of the hangars that I have that are currently empty. And here we have a little dude admiring his Cessna. That's a nice little bird you got there, buddy. Top of the evening to you. So you can see just how far we walked down there. Everything, I've tried to do everything to scale. So all of these hangars that I downloaded, which by the way I used Open Scenery X. I don't believe I used any of the other libraries because Open Scenery X has a lot of different hangars that you can pick from. The default library for X-Plane also has a bunch of hangars, but I think the texture quality is not nearly as good as in Open Scenery X or some of the other third-party libraries that you can get. Alright, so we got a couple over here, and looks like they are checking out their plane in prep for a little evening flight. And of course the couple that flies in flight suits together stays together as far as I'm concerned. So let's see what they're doing here. See if we can get a little bit closer. Now I am zoomed out all the way. My field of vision's at 120 I believe, so the little blue thing that you see at the bottom, that's clipping basically. I could zoom it in, but then that's going to limit my field of view. So we'll go in front of these guys and turn around. Howdy folks. They're checking out their plane. Very nice, very nice. And the reason why I put that plane there is because the reference photo that I used as an overlay actually did have a plane there. So I tried to find the closest match that I could to that aircraft, and I just figured I'd add some people in there just to kind of flesh it out a little bit. Alright, so we got one more set of hangars that we need to take a look at, and that's all the way at this side of the airport. And again, this is basically community owned. I don't know if anyone owns any of these hangars that might live in the neighborhood, but I imagine that since it's open to the public, anybody can really rent one of these hangars. And like I said, I do plan on getting the neighborhood itself finished up. I don't know if I will have that added as part of this scenery, or if I will just do it as like a separate add-on scenery, because I did notice that the elevation of the neighborhood around is a little bit lower than the actual elevation of the airport. Over the other side, you will see some industrial buildings. I also need to put down some kind of a ground texture that indicates that it's kind of like a quarry or something like that. I'm not really sure what it is, but it looks like a quarry on a map. But we've got the one guy over here with his Cessna in the little wooden hangar. I tried to match that because I did see that some of these hangars look like they're older than dirt. And I'm thinking there is a house next door to that, so I plopped down what I could fit in that spot. But yeah, once again, community airport, and I think one of the most brilliant ideas ever. And actually, speaking of community, there's one important announcement that I would like to make that's not really relative to this particular video, but I figured now's as good a time as any to make mention to you. I'm talking about the upcoming charity live stream, 24-hour charity live stream called Flight Angels 2016. Now, I have opted to participate as one of the live streamers for this event. So we're going to have some big names like Frugal, Nova Wing 24, Jeff Fabiano, Cat Strader, and a bunch of other people are going to be flying legs around the world. And there's also going to be, movie stars and other aviation notables that are going to be interviewed throughout the course of this. The purpose of this is, of course, charity. You can see the three charities at the bottom there: Over the Wall Children's Charities, Serious Fun Children's Network, and Vision of Flight. We're looking to donate a lot of money to all three charities. So I will give you more information as the time gets a little bit closer, but put that in the back of your mind. It's going to be a 24-hour live stream with all the YouTube flight simulation greats and a few famous names thrown in there as well. So keep on a lookout for that. All right, back to our airport. I'm going to put us in super speed mode here, and we'll just kind of take a look at the airport. And there's a little industrial park that I was telling you about that I still need to finish up. And what we'll do is we'll run down the end of the runway, and then we'll head back to the helo, and then we'll fly over to Washington County, which, as I stated, is going to be the next airport that I will be working on. So there you go. We have a pretty decent view of all the buildings. I would say I did a pretty decent job trying to replicate this. I don't expect everything to be perfect to real life because obviously I don't have all of the proper buildings, you know, like the building textures and whatnot. But for what it is, I think I did a pretty decent job. Just got to finish up that neighborhood over there and then we'll be good to go. But yes, that will be coming soon, and I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to put these things online. I might, but it will require other scenery libraries for you to download in order for you to see everything. I'm sure if you're familiar with X-Plane, you probably know that. Alright, but back into the helo with me. I think the first thing we're going to want to do is start closing up some of the doors, and then I will try to go through the quick start checklist here. Get that all done. So let's close the back door. There we go. And I did do some modification in Plane Maker, which of course can be used to make aircraft for X-Plane. I had to change some of the lighting a little bit so that way that back cabin would have some lights. Alright, so we'll close the front door here. And then we will go through our standard startup checklist. Now I do have the checklist on monitor number 2, so that PDF is up. We're going to change our view here, and I believe the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get the GPU going. So let me see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'll try to get this done quickly. Alright, there we go, external power. There's the GPU firing up. And wait, where's my GPU? Got a phantom GPU going here, folks. What is going on with that? Alright, let me turn that off. And we'll turn it back on. Wow! GPU didn't materialize. Huh. That's interesting. I've never had that happen before. Hopefully that's not a permanent thing. Alright. Well, we'll pretend the GPU is on because it makes a noise, so it's got to be doing something. So at this point in time, I'm going to skip over a couple of items and we're going to go ahead and get the APU started. So we'll put that to on and then click it to start. Spooling up now. And then while that's going, I will start going down the list and see if we can get everything else. So let's see, anti-ice switches as required. Well, we don't need that. It's the end of July here. Let's see, anti-collision light and position lights. Yeah, we do need to turn those on. But let's do that, and then we'll turn the battery on. So beacon, anti-collision, main light switch, and then battery. Okay, so those lights are now on. Alright, next. The ignition switches, I believe, need to go on. So we'll flick 1 and 2. And the fuel cutoff levers, those need to be in the off position for now. We'll open them up when we're ready to start the engine. Engine control levers shut off. Rotor brake is on. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we now have to go down here and check our fuel. I'll remind you the fuel is in the center right under that green writing, which basically just says the parking brake is on. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so we're going to want to do our fuel checks here. First we want to check the gauges to make sure that they are in fact functioning properly. So that red switch that's covered on the left, we'll flick that on for a second. Okay, we got full, it's going to go back down to 0 and then it goes where it needs to go. Okay, so yeah, that's working fine. We'll do a DC test. Yep, we've got electricity coming through. Engine fire checks. Yep, that's good. And the horn. Alright, all the caution and warning lights are on. This is good. This is very good. Alright, what's next on the list here? Let's see, fuel boost pumps and firewall fuel valves. Okay, so we're back over here. Okay, so These are the fuel pump switches that I'm flicking right now. I am putting them to the off position. We will turn them on when we're ready to start. And I'm opening up the firewall valves. We have to have that open in order for the engine to even accept the fuel. Alright, so that's all done. It says I need to set my altimeter next, so... Oh yeah, I do. Wow. Alright, it should be reading about 1,200 and close to 40. Right there should do the trick. Yeah, I think they said the QNH or whatnot is 29.99 right now. So yeah, that seems pretty accurate. Okay, radios as required, tail wheel lock, we won't worry about that. Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can get the engines started here, because the rest of this stuff I've already checked. Alright, that we're going to put down, so that way the rotor will be disengaged, and we'll get engine number 1 to ground idle, and engine number 2, we'll put that in ground idle as well, but first let's see if we can get those fuel pumps on, because engine 1 should be starting up right now. I think I need both sets of switches, so there we go. Ah, there we go. If you look at the dials for engine 1 on the left side, yep, that's coming up. Alright, good deal, good deal. I'm always curious as to why this rotor brake doesn't completely stop the rotor, but, you know, I'm going to work with that. See the little ignition's on, so we'll go ahead and open up the fuel. And that should get us up to speed on that engine. So we'll go ahead and start engine number 2. Oh, we need the generator. There we go. Generator's on. And looks like the rotor wants to engage, so I'm going to put it to flight, and we're going to go ahead and take the rotor brake off. Might as well let it spin up, because I don't want to damage anything. In the meantime, engine 2 is on ground idle. We'll open up the fuel. There we go, and we'll wait for engine 2 to spin up. So far looking good. I do need a little bit of light here. I'm not sure if it's going to come on because technically it's not dark enough, but this is where the cockpit cabin light is. So we'll put that on, and then we have the back cabin light that we can put on as well. So if it gets a little bit darker, you'll actually see the white light in the back there. Alright, while we're at it, we'll turn on the radar. Radios are already on, so we're good to go there. And now that both engines appear to be stabilized, we'll turn off the APU. Oh, wait, almost forgot. I need generator 2. There we go. Okay, now we can turn off the APU. And we can also get rid of our Phantom GPU as well. I don't know why that thing did not show up, but hopefully it'll show up in future videos. But we'll turn it off. Alright, so we are almost set to go. Just a couple more items. And we should be ready. Check my checklist real quick here. Okay, let's see. The tail wheel lock and all of that, we'll deal with that in a second. Let me turn on the landing lights. I don't think I need the floodlights or the hover lights, so we'll leave those off for the time being. Oh, I am going to need to spin the engines up to their full RPM, so let's go ahead and put that to 100%. There we go. Looks like she's coming up to speed. You can see the gauges on the co-pilot side. The needles are moving. This is good. Everything is synced up, which is where you want to be in a helicopter. If anything gets unsynced, you got a problem. Alright, from the outside, everything looks great. I am really loving this little airport. I gotta make it a point to visit it in real life. I would really love to see how well I did. But yeah, I would say we're just about ready to fly. So we're gonna hop back in the cockpit. And actually, before I do that, let me show you where we're going. Alright, so this is the local map that comes with X-Plane. It definitely drops my frames per second, but I think that's probably because I have it set to textured. You'll notice us with a little compass rose around, and I'm removing some of the extra features to kind of lighten our FPS load, but it doesn't seem to be helping much. Let me show you where we're going. We'll zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to click on Kilo Alpha Foxtrot Juliet, which will be Washington County Airport. Elevation 1184. We've got the AWAS frequency. It says that it's on the 71 dial, 71 radial there. We are going to be putting into our HSI roughly about 242 degrees, which should point us directly towards the airport from where we are right now. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so we're back in the cockpit, and let's see. We are going to want to use the HSI in the center here. So let me just zoom in and we'll drag my heading bug. Yeah, right there should be good. We're going to drag it to, what did I say, 242? Yeah, it's going to be right about there. We'll also do the same thing for our course knob. I'm not going to be punching in any vortex frequencies or anything like that for navigation. We're just going to do dead reckoning, basically. So yeah, we got that set to 242. There is another one on the left side of the screen here that I'm also going to change to about 242. Oh, this one's a little bit more sensitive. Come on, baby. 244, 241. You know what? Right there will have to be good enough. Yeah, we're going to use that as our reference point. All right. Let's see. Everything's looking good there. I could probably set my radar altimeter, but no, we'll leave that out for the time being. Okay. Do my final checks, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, it does say it's something about the tail wheel lock and the parking brake. So we'll go ahead and get the tail wheel lock off, parking brake off, collective up, and we are going flying, folks. Next stop, Washington County. Now I did change the settings for my joystick, so it's a little bit more sensitive to fly now, but I would rather have that than have this thing just totally stability augmented, because it's not as realistic that way. So yeah, all this wobbling that you're going to see, that would be me. Alright, so here we have a nice little aerial view of the airport. There's that house over there that I think might be the pilot's lounge. I could be wrong. There's the neighborhood. I still got to continue the roads going through there, but again, we'll tackle that on another time. So here we got our hangars. That couple is still working on their plane. Doesn't look like they've taken off yet. I doubt they will since it's static AI. And we are going to turn around right over here by the industrial park. Yeah, you can see how it's got all kinds of forest textures underneath it. That needs to be like a dirt or gravel type thing, so I'll have to fix that. It's amazing how immersed you can get into this stuff when you're designing it, but look at that. I would say I did a pretty decent job on that, so there you go. Alright, so next stop, Washington. And we got a lovely sunset in front of us here. Frames seem to be relatively stable, but again, since I just got this brand new graphics card, I haven't quite figured out my optimization settings for the various games and sims that I play. I will say this though, I did try it with FSX Steam Edition, and I am getting better frames, so yes, you are going to see some more episodes coming up with that soon. You will also see more episodes of Dovetail's Flight School, because that one seems to be performing the best with this new graphics card. I was rather surprised, shall we say. But of course, we're in X-Plane right now, so we're going to continue our flight to Washington. Alright, so we've got a good, I would say about 10 minutes or so until we are within the neighborhood of Washington. So what I will do is I'll tell you a little bit about that airport as I have found online. Now, I have not been there in real life. However, it is a very popular airport just to the south of Pittsburgh. It's probably about as big as Rostrave, or maybe a little bit bigger. I'll give you an example. The runway length is 5,004 feet. And it is a true east to west runway. So we have runway 9 and runway 27. Elevation, as I stated before, is about 1183. I want to say it's actually 1184. It's closer to 1184 feet above sea level, that is. And it does have your usual facilities. It does have the PAPI lighting on the end, and it is a non-precision approach, as are most of the airports. Speaking of which, let's take a look over to the left-hand side there. You'll see that's an actual grass strip. I'm going to be working on that one as well, too. However, I don't think there's much to work on. What you're looking at there is Bandel Airport, B-A-N-D-E-L, otherwise known as 22 Delta. That's just a little grass strip there. I'm pretty sure it doesn't look like that though, but we'll add some stuff to that just to kind of flesh everything out. Because ultimately I would like to have all of southeastern PA mapped out here in X-Plane. It's a golden opportunity that I'm taking advantage of since I live in the area. Alright, but yes, getting back to the airport itself, Washington Airport was originally open to the public a long time ago. And we are talking like back in the golden age of aviation, you know, the 40s thereabouts. You'll find that a lot of these airports are roughly around that old. But yeah, it was open in the 40s with 3 sod runways, in other words, not paved, just like dirt runways. And around 1947, which ironically was the same time that Finleyville opened, is when this one actually opened up for service. And of course they've had all kinds of GA as well as regional aircraft come in. The runway is big enough for small regional planes, but it's really not on too many people's itinerary. It's going to be more like a business location or a GA location. The city of Washington is right down there next to I-79 and I-70. I-70 runs east to west, I-79 runs north to south. And if we look off to the right, you can actually see just to the right of your screen there, that is the city of Washington. So the airport that we're looking for is going to be just to the right of our right pontoon there. This airport services that entire area, and it's actually gotten a huge economic boost over the last few years as more and more businesses are taking their business to Washington County rather than to Allegheny County. Honestly, the reason why that's happening, I believe, has to do with like the property taxes and so on and so forth. They're a hell of a lot cheaper down here in Washington County than where I live in Allegheny County. So yeah, I'm not too surprised that a lot of these little airports down there are starting to experience a resurgence as more and more people take their business and their families down this way. So yes, we are almost there. I'm trying to look and see if I can see it. It's definitely not going to be this way, but you can see Washington there. I think that's it directly ahead. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of aliasing there because for some strange reason my anti-aliasing settings on the graphics card do not seem to be carrying through to X-Plane, so I'll have to fix that. So I apologize if this video is a little bit jaggy, but yeah, we'll work on it. It's a work in progress. There is a helipad pretty close to where I am. There's like a hospital down there with a helipad. I don't think the hospital was modeled, but I do believe the helipad was. Don't ask me how that works, so I might want to see if I can find some kind of hospital type looking building and maybe shove a helipad on top of it and see if it'll actually do the trick. But we'll take care of that at a later date. Alright, I know there is a lake right at the end of the airport, so I'm inclined to think that is our airport right there. And there's downtown Washington. There's not that many buildings, but I've been assured that in X-Plane 10.5 we'll be seeing a lot more buildings. Hopefully it also won't kill my frames per second. Alright, so let's pull the nose up a little bit. We'll lose a bit of airspeed and we'll see if we can bring this big behemoth down. I should also put the landing gear out. So there it is. As you can see, the default X-Plane airport. I'm going to go ahead and get the gear down in a sec here. And we're going to see if we can land right on the runway. Right around the center area where that little taxiway is on the runway. We'll try and do that. Now I am still going a little bit too fast, so I'm probably going to want to turn, go downwind, and then just do like a short final type of approach to get in there. So yeah, our speed is still a little bit up. Oh, I just realized that my lights are not on, so let me see if I can turn on our position lights. Whoa. I gotta watch where I'm flying here. This is difficult to do without a track IR. Alright, there we go. The lights should be on. Gears down and locked, and this is our turnaround. So we're going to swing out to the left here. That'll help us lose a little bit of speed, and we're trying to lose a good amount of altitude. Obviously, I don't want to get into a vortex ring state, but I think the key thing to remember with vortex ring state, it also depends greatly on your forward airspeed. We've got enough forward airspeed that I can afford to do a dive bomb here, and the helicopter will still be relatively stable. Alright, so we'll swing around the other way, drop the collective sum. Come on, baby, rotate around. There we go. Now we're looking good. You can really start to tell it's getting a little bit darker, which is awesome. I love doing flights in the evening time because honestly sunset is my favorite time of day. I will try to do some night flights. I'm not quite sure how they're going to translate very well to YouTube, but you can be on the lookout for that because I really do love the nighttime scenery in X-Plane. I can't even tell you just how amazing it is. I'm sure you've seen videos. Wow, out of all the flight simulators that I've played, yeah, X-Plane wins the cake as far as nighttime scenery goes. So we'll be showing that off at some point in time in the future. For now, let me see if I can get Big Bertha down on the runway. I am watching my vertical velocity. So far we are looking pretty good. Kind of off to the grass there, so I'm going to need to push to the left. See if we can lose a bit more altitude. Okay, there we go. I'm thinking I might want to do an outside view to make sure that my wheels actually touch the runway. But let's push forward just a bit here. You know what, that's probably as good as it's going to get, folks, so I'm going to bring her down right about here. We'll pop outside. There we go. Oh, I've got to swing a little to the left there. I want to be completely on the runway. That'll work. That will work. Alright, and we're down. Let's go ahead and get the parking brake on. Good deal. So, welcome to Washington County, folks. As you can see, there ain't nothing here. But, if you caught the video before we built Finleyville, you will know this is exactly what that airport looked like as well. We're going to change that. Or more to the point, I'm going to change that. And you're going to watch after the fact. Alright, so now that we are down, we'll go ahead and start turning everything off. So let's see, let's put this down to ground idle. That will spin the rotors down a bit. Wait for it to do its thing there. Go ahead and lock the tail wheel. Parking brake is already on, so we're good there. Let's see, landing light, we can turn you off now since we're already on the ground. Okay, I think the rotors are spun down well enough now. And we'll give it a few more seconds. Why not? Actually, we should be able to just cut the fuel, but I'm going to put these all the way up to 0, so that'll actually start the engines turning off. Yeah, I know, that sentence just made no sense whatsoever, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and turn that off. Alright, we'll close the emergency fuel valves as well while that's spinning down. You can see the gauges are moving. Okay, so we'll flick that off. Flick that off. No more fuel going to the engine. We'll also turn off the firewall fuel pumps as well as the regular fuel pumps. 2 for each engine. We'll go ahead and flick those off in a moment here. Let me see. I should probably be in the middle view here, so yeah, that'll work. So much easier to operate this way. Alright, we'll disengage the rotor from the engine. So there we go. Let's see, fuel pumps. We'll go ahead and turn all of those off. So number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. Close the, what do you call those? Firewall. Turn off the radar. Probably turn off all the radios too, because it's not like we ever use them. Eventually I do plan on utilizing the ATC system once it gets a little bit more fleshed out, so you'll have to bear with me. It's not going to be like FSX where you'll always hear me talking to the tower. Alright, we can turn off the cabin lights too. I don't think I'm going to need that because we're done for the day. I might keep the back cabin light on. No, we'll turn it off. Why not? On second thought, I might want to do some building tonight, so yeah, we'll keep it on. Can't really see it because it's not dark enough, but trust me, folks, it's there. We'll open the door while we're at it here. Get some of that ambient light in. Alright, let's see. I'm not really following the checklist. I'm just trying to do everything as I remember it. So generators need to go off. We'll go ahead and get all the lights off. So position lights, nav lights, strobe lights, beacon, main light switch. Okay, all of that crap's off. Ignition switches are also going to need to be off, so we'll flick number 2, I believe this is, and then number 1. Okay, ignition switches are off. Really, the only other thing we need to turn off is the radio, and then we're good to go. or not the radio, but the battery. Rotor brake. I like how it's effective. It actually does slow down the rotor to a stop, but it doesn't actually stay stopped. So I don't know what's up with that, but hey, you know what? I'm not going to complain. Bertavia, you did a great job. I still love your helos. Alright, battery's off, and we are done. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk out here, and I'm going to sign off with you guys, but I'm going to take a few minutes to look around and, you know, see what all needs to be done with this particular airport. Then I'll work on getting my ortho imagery to use as an overlay, and I will probably spend the next few days working on this airport. Alright, but as for you guys, I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, this is BelGeode. I've been flying X-Plane 10.45. We are here at Washington County, so that's going to be the next airport that we're working on. However, for the next episode, I might actually go to Oshkosh, since that is actually happening in real life this week. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and ciao!